Tony Stark was adopted. Baby swap theory. This theory is wild, but it makes sense. The idea is simple. Tony Stark was never Howard and Maria Stark's biological son. He was adopted. And the baby they adopted? Victor Von Doom. From Latveria, a royal child from a European monarchy. Somehow, baby Victor ended up with the Starks. Maybe Howard Stark was connected to Latveria through business. Maybe there was a deal, a secret arrangement, a child swap. Whatever the reason, the Starks adopted Victor and raised him as Tony. Tony grew up believing he was a Stark. He became Iron Man. He saved the universe. But in another timeline, in another reality, Victor Von Doom was never adopted. He grew up in Latveria. He learned sorcery. He became a tyrant. He became Doom. This theory explains everything. It explains why Doom and Tony look identical. Because they're the same person, just from different timelines. One adopted, one not. The theory goes deeper. It connects to the comics. In 2010, Marvel Comics revealed that Tony Stark was adopted. Writer Kieron Gillen made it canon. Howard Stark wasn't Tony's biological father, so Marvel already did this twist in the comics. They could do it again in the MCU. And here's the kicker. The theory suggests that our Tony was our Doom all along. We've been watching Victor Von Doom's story for over a decade. Without knowing it, Tony Stark was just the name he was given, the identity he grew up with. But deep down, buried in his DNA, in his mind, he was always Victor. And in Doomsday, when RDJ's Doom sees an alternate path where he became a hero, it'll destroy him. He'll see what he could have been, what he lost. And that'll be the emotional core of the film. Doom realizing he was robbed of his destiny, that in another life, he was Iron Man. And it'll make his sacrifice in Secret Wars even more powerful. Because he'll be completing the arc Tony started. Tony Stark variant who survived the snap. This theory is straightforward, and it was the most popular theory when RDJ's casting was first announced. The idea? Doom is a Tony Stark variant from another universe, a timeline where Tony survived using the Infinity Stones. In our timeline, Tony snapped away Thanos and his army in Endgame, but the power of the stones killed him. He couldn't handle it. He died a hero. But what if, in another timeline, Tony survived? What if he used the stones and lived? The theory suggests that in this alternate timeline, Tony's face was horribly scarred by the Infinity Stones. Just like Thanos was scarred, just like Hulk's arm was burned, Tony's face was destroyed, disfigured, unrecognizable. So he started wearing a mask, all the time, to hide the scars. And over time, Tony changed. The trauma of using the stones, the weight of saving his universe, it twisted him. He became obsessed with control, with preventing another Thanos, with creating a suit of armor around the world. Sound familiar? That was Tony's goal in Age of Ultron. A suit of armor around the world, and it created Ultron. Now imagine Tony actually succeeding. Imagine him going further, becoming more extreme, more authoritarian, more Doom-like. The theory suggests that Tony, scarred and desperate, adopted the name Victor Von Doom, maybe as a way to distance himself from his past, maybe as a symbol of his new mission. Either way, he became Doom. And now he's coming to Earth 616 because his universe is dying. Incursions, multiversal collapse, the same threats we saw in the comics. And Doom believes he's the only one who can save the multiverse, even if it means destroying other universes to do it. He Who Remains rewrote Doom into Tony Stark. This theory is insane, and it connects everything. Loki, the TVA, Kang, the sacred timeline, the multiverse, all of it. The theory suggests that He Who Remains, the Kang variant who won the multiversal war, orchestrated one of the biggest manipulations in MCU history. He rewrote Dr. Doom into the sacred timeline as Tony Stark. Here's how it works. In the original multiverse, Victor Von Doom was too dangerous. He was a genius, a sorcerer, a tyrant. And across infinite timelines, Doom variants kept discovering the multiverse. They kept challenging Kang. They kept threatening his control. So He Who Remains decided to eliminate the threat. But he couldn't just erase Doom. Doom is too powerful, too connected to the fabric of reality. So He Who Remains did something else. He rewrote Doom's entire life story. He took an orphaned Victor Von Doom and placed him with Howard and Maria Stark. He altered his memories, gave him a new identity, Tony Stark. And Tony grew up never knowing he was Victor. The theory goes deeper. He Who Remains needed Tony Stark to invent time travel, because Kang needed access to time travel technology in the future. So He Who Remains let Tony crack time travel in Endgame. He allowed the Avengers time heist to happen, because it served his purpose. And to make sure Tony was the smartest man in the sacred timeline, He Who Remains kept Reed Richards out of the MCU. In the comics, Reed Richards is the smartest man on Earth, not Tony. But in the MCU, Tony held that title. Why? Because He Who Remains couldn't risk Reed discovering the multiverse. Reed's intelligence is cosmic. He would have figured it out. He would have created a council of Reeds, just like the Council of Kangs, and that would have been a problem. So He Who Remains kept the Fantastic Four out of the sacred timeline entirely, until Loki freed the multiverse, and now, the Fantastic Four are back, incursions are happening, and Doom is discovering the truth, that he was Tony Stark all along, that he was manipulated, rewritten, robbed of his destiny, and that's going to fuel his rage in Doomsday. If you're loving these theories, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. We've got more breakdowns coming. Let's keep going. Doom steals Tony's face for psychological warfare. This theory is brutal and strategic. The idea? Doom doesn't look like Tony by accident. He chose to look like Tony. He stole his face. On purpose. Think about it. Dr. Doom is a genius, a master strategist. He's always 3 moves ahead, and if Doom is coming to Earth, 616 to take over or manipulate the Avengers, what's the best way to do it? Look like their greatest hero. Look like the man who saved the universe. Look like Tony Stark. Iron Man is an idol to every hero in the MCU. He's a legend, the man who sacrificed everything to stop Thanos. And Doom knows that, so he uses Tony's face as a weapon, a psychological tool. Imagine being Steve Rogers, or Pepper Potts, or Peter Parker, and you see Tony Stark standing in front of you, alive. After years of mourning him, after years of moving on, you'd be thrown off, confused, vulnerable, and that's exactly what Doom wants. The theory suggests Doom uses magic or advanced technology to steal Tony's appearance. Maybe he scanned Tony's DNA. Maybe he used sorcery to copy his face. Maybe he even stole Tony's body somehow. Either way, Doom wears Tony's face like a mask, and he uses it to manipulate the Avengers, to make them trust him, to make them hesitate. Because how do you fight someone who looks like your fallen friend? How do you stop someone who has Tony Stark's face? You don't, and that's Doom's advantage. This theory makes Doom terrifying. Doom body swapped with Tony Stark. This theory comes straight from the comics, and it's twisted. In the comic What If Iron Man Demon in an Armor, Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom are college roommates. Tony is rich, arrogant, annoying, and Doom hates him. But Doom also recognizes that Tony is a genius, and he's wealthy. So Doom tricks Tony into helping him build a device, a mind swap machine. And when Doom activates it, their minds switch bodies. Doom becomes Tony Stark, and Tony becomes Victor Von Doom. Doom, now in Tony's body, immediately murders Howard Stark, takes control of Stark Industries, and uses Tony's wealth and influence to amass global power. He becomes a dictator, a tyrant, all while wearing Tony Stark's face. Meanwhile, the real Tony Stark is trapped in Victor's body, in Victor's life, with none of the advantages. But Tony proves his brilliance. Even in Doom's body, Tony becomes just as successful, because genius isn't about the body, it's about the mind. The MCU could adapt this. Maybe in another universe, Doom and Tony were colleagues, maybe they worked together. And Doom, jealous of Tony's success, his wealth, his fame, built a machine to swap their minds. Doom took everything from Tony, his face, his company, his life. And now Doom wears Tony Stark's face as a trophy, as proof of his superiority. This theory makes Doom's connection to Tony deeply personal. It's not just about looking alike, it's about Doom literally stealing Tony's identity, his body, his legacy, and using it for evil. The real Tony could still be out there somewhere, trapped, forgotten, waiting for someone to discover the truth. And if the MCU goes this route, it opens the door for a massive reveal. Maybe in Secret Wars, the heroes discover that Doom isn't who he says he is, that the real Tony Stark is still alive, just in a different body, and they have to save him. Mephisto cursed Doom to wear Tony's face. This theory is dark, and it involves Mephisto, the demon, the devil of the Marvel Universe, and one of Doom's most important enemies. In the comics, Doom's entire backstory revolves around Mephisto. Doom's mother, Cynthia, made a deal with Mephisto, and when she died, her soul was trapped in Mephisto's realm. Doom's entire life has been about rescuing his mother's soul. He learned sorcery, he became a tyrant, all to gain enough power to challenge Mephisto, to save his mother. And Mephisto? He's been torturing Doom for decades. The theory suggests that Mephisto cursed Doom as punishment. As a twisted game, Mephisto stripped Doom of his own identity, his own face, and forced him to wear Tony Stark's face instead. Why Tony Stark? Because Tony is everything Doom hates. A hero, a symbol of hope, a man who saved the universe through selflessness. The opposite of Doom, and Mephisto knows that. So he cursed Doom to resemble the hero he despises, to be a shadow of a better man. Doom becomes infamous Iron Man after Secret Wars. This theory looks ahead to what happens after Doomsday in Secret Wars, and it's based on one of the best Dr. Doom comics ever written, Infamous Iron Man by Brian Michael Bendis. In that comic, Doom becomes Iron Man, not as a villain, as a hero. Here's the setup. After the 2015 Secret Wars event, Reed Richards heals Doom's scarred face. For the first time in decades, Doom can show his face without shame. Reed also messes with Doom's mind a little. He tells Doom that he doesn't think he's better than him. He wants Doom to be the best version of himself, and that breaks something in Doom, because Doom has always been obsessed with proving he's superior to Reed. That's his entire motivation. But now Reed is saying he's not his enemy, he's his equal, and Doom doesn't know what to do with that. So Doom decides to try being a hero. Tony Stark is missing, presumed dead, and someone needs to step up, so Doom takes one of Tony's Iron Man suits, paints it gray, adds his trademark hooded cape, and becomes the infamous Iron Man. It doesn't go well. Heroes don't trust him, villains hate him, and Doom struggles with his own nature. Can a villain truly become a hero, or is he just pretending? It's just multiverse casting, no in-universe explanation. This theory is the simplest, and it might be the truth. The idea? There is no in-universe explanation. Doom just looks like Tony because Robert Downey Jr. is playing both characters. That's it. Think about it. Chris Evans played Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four. Then he played Captain America in the MCU. Nobody demanded an explanation. Nobody needed Johnny and Steve to look alike for a story reason. It was just casting. The same actor playing different characters, in different universes, in different timelines. Gemma Chan played Minerva in Captain Marvel. Then she played Cersei in Eternals. Same face, different characters, no explanation needed. And recently, Chris Evans returned as Johnny Storm in Deadpool and Wolverine. Nobody cared that he looked like Captain America. It was just a fun multiverse cameo. The MCU has done this before, multiple times. So why would Doom be different? Some insiders have said exactly this, that Marvel isn't planning a big twist. Doom isn't a Tony variant, he's not adopted, he didn't steal Tony's face. He just happens to look like him, because it's the multiverse. And in the multiverse, people from different realities can look identical without being connected. It's that simple.